All right. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on this very special occasion. We've got a number of guests here today. We've got Colonel Bolduc, who's obviously the superintendent of the Nebraska State Patrol, plus, oh, Jason, you're going to stand over there. Okay. No, that's fine. You can stay over there. Fine. That's fine. You can stay over there. We also are being joined by one of our Nebraska heroes, Frank Exiotis, and his wife, Shelley, right? Who we're going to talk, I'm going to have Colonel Bolduc talk about that in just a moment. One of the things that is special about Nebraskans is that we take care of each other. We've seen that in the flooding of 2019 when neighbors went out of their way to be able to help each other, including at the risk and in one case the loss of their own lives. We saw it during the pandemic when neighbors rallied to take care of each other. And we saw it again this year with the wildfires. In fact, this will probably be the second worst year for wildfires we've ever had in the state. Time and time again, that spirit of Nebraska comes out when people step up to help each other. And that's what we have here today with Frank Exiotis. Colonel Bolduc is going to go into more detail about an incident that occurred in September of 2020 when Frank witnessed an accident and then at great risk to his own life went to go help the people that were involved in that accident. And it really, again, was something that was part of who we are here in Nebraska. Frank is truly a hero for putting himself at risk to be able to help somebody else out. And so we're here to recognize him here today and thank Frank for his heroism, and the Daly family who could not be with us here today also would like to thank Frank for what he did for their family in September of 2020. The Nebraska State Patrol recognized Frank for his actions and then recommended him to the Carnegie Hero Fund Foundation. This is a foundation that was set up actually almost 120 years ago, back in 1904, to recognize civilians who put themselves at risk to be able to help others. And Frank is one of 17 award recipients this year of that Carnegie Hero Fund, or sorry, that Carnegie Hero Award that the Carnegie Hero Fund Foundation gives out. So we're really honored to have Frank here to be able to recognize him and share with him the award from the Carnegie Hero Fund to recognize his great work. So it really is extraordinary what you did there, Frank, and I know that the Colonel is going to go through the details about how you put yourself at risk to be able to help out others and really just represent Nebraska in the great way, that great spirit of Nebraska. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn over to Colonel Bolduc, who's going to go through the particulars.
Great. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, everybody, for being here today, and I'd like to thank Lieutenant Stahl for being here. It's really a privilege to honor Frank in this way, or to recognize the honor that he has been bestowed upon by the Carnegie Foundation. And I want to thank Lieutenant Stahl for nominating him. But this dates back to September 25th in 2020 on Interstate 80 near 27th Street here in Lincoln. A crash happened in which a young lady, Maddie, and her younger brother, Lucas, were in the vehicle, and they were in a crash in which they were pinned against the guardrail by a semi-truck, and there was another vehicle involved in that. Unfortunately, in that collision, the vehicles caught on fire. So can you imagine this young woman, 21-year-old Maddie Daly, and her younger brother were essentially trapped in this vehicle, and the fire was spreading. Frank happened to be going the opposite direction, saw this crash unfold, pulled over near the median at great peril, crossed the lanes of traffic to come upon this crash and see what was going on and see if he could help. He immediately jumped into action and began smashing out the window. First, I think he got the 9-year-old out. He was able to get that door open. But then the young woman, who was the driver, was essentially pinned because the door wouldn't open. So Frank smashes the window open, causing some injury to himself, but he's not thinking about himself. And he gets this 21-year-old young woman out of this vehicle as the fire continued to spread. And as soon as he got her out, the fire grew very rapidly because of the fuel that was involved with this fire. Now, last year we had the privilege of hosting Maddie and presented a State Patrol award to Frank. And Maddie described it as, this was like a superhero movie. It was going in slow motion, the fire and the smoke, and this angel appears, smashing out windows, and pulls them to safety, just like in a movie script, but she described it as, this man is a superhero. So when you take action based on something that happens right in front of you, without regard to your own safety, and you do a heroic act like this, this is really the very definition of hero. And so this award is very well deserved. The Daly family would love to join us today, but Lucas is in school studying hard, and Maddie is off in western Nebraska pursuing her career in the healthcare field. But they have sent their congratulations to Frank and their eternal gratitude for his actions that saved the lives of these two young people. So with that, I'd like to turn it back over to the governor, and thank you again. Frank, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Colonel. You know, Frank, I get to do a lot of cool things as governor. And I got to tell you, this is one of the coolest things I have ever done as governor, to get to present this award to you. It is truly well-deserved for your heroic actions on September 25th, 2020. And the Carnegie Foundation, Hero Fund Foundation, has sent this coin, to this medal, really, to present you with. It is actually, well, I'm going to show you in a second, but it's actually incredible. It's just a beautiful medal. And one of the things on it is a quote from the Bible. It's from John 15:13. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. And that's what you were absolutely willing to do on that day. You were willing to put your own life at risk to be able to save others. You are so deserving of this award. It is, again, just an honor and privilege to be able to, for me to be able to give this to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's an applause line now. You guys can clap. Would you like to say a few words, Frank?
Sure. This is a pleasure and a privilege to be here. No words can express how I'm feeling right now, but I'm very thankful to be here. I'm very thankful for the results of what happened that day. I'm glad that everybody was able to walk away from that. The several times that I've come down to Lincoln to drive under this 27th Street Bridge, I've always remembered what happened that day. And I'm just so thankful that everybody was able to walk away, and that's the most important thing, is taking care of people. When you see somebody in need, it's easy to walk away or to turn your head and look the other way. But when there's somebody that needs help, you need to be there. That's what people are supposed to do, is help each other out. And that's what Nebraska is all about. That's what the Midwest is, our family values. So I don't really have anything else to say except for thank you very much. And it is a pleasure, a privilege to be here today. And thank you, Sergeant Stahl, for everything that you've done. And I appreciate everybody in uniform for every day putting their lives on the line for taking care of people. And thank you, Mr. Governor, for everything that you've done for the state of Nebraska. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, Frank, you truly are a hero, and there was a 9-year-old little boy who is around today because of your actions, and a 21-year-old young woman. So thank you for all you're doing. I will point out, though, that Sergeant Stahl has actually been promoted to Lieutenant Stahl now.
Awesome.
So now he's Lieutenant Jason Stahl. So, yeah, we can clap. Right? Good job, Chris. So now we'll go ahead and open it up to questions on this topic. So if you want to ask, Lieutenant Stahl was actually on the scene for the Nebraska State Patrol. So if you want to ask questions of him or Colonel Bolduc or of Frank on this topic, we'll take that. And then once we do questions on this, we can open up to other questions. Yeah, Paul?
Ask Frank a little bit about his background, what do you do for a living, where he grew up, and what makes somebody work.
So I live in Omaha, or excuse me, in Elkhorn, Nebraska. I work for Woodhouse Buick GMC. I'm in sales. And what would make me do something like this? I don't know. I guess it's just something that is just instilled in me. There's been times where tragedy happens in the past. My mom worked at Von Maur that day, and people need help. And you just, if you're there and you're willing to lend a hand, do everything that you can. My wife, she comes from a family of law enforcement. Her father, Michael O'Keefe, retired Omaha Police Department. Her brother Todd and Kevin are both Omaha Police Department. So it's just kind of in the family to be a first responder. A lot of times, being a first responder doesn't always be, the wearing a uniform. The first responder is a person that's there as a witness or as somebody that can lend a hand. I do thank our first responders, the people that serve our country, that put their lives on the line every day and don't get the recognition that they are deserved. But it's just somebody needed help, and I was there, and I didn't think about it. I just jumped into action.
Andrew.
What did you see when you were driving down the road? You said you witnessed what happened?
Yeah, so we were heading back to Omaha from Lincoln, and we were approaching that 27th Street Bridge, and I saw the semi truck make this erratic move, and then before I knew it, I saw him coming into Maddie's vehicle and smashed it up against the wall. Obviously, I knew it was an accident, so I pulled over. Immediately, there was flames. I mean, I don't know if it was the fuel tank from the semi or the back tank of Maddie's car, but there was flames immediately. I made contact with Maddie. I also saw Lucas in the back seat, and they were like looking at me because I could see that they were kind of in shock, not really realizing what had just happened. And I pulled over, told my wife to call 911. The traffic was just kind of slowing down, and then I went like this across the 3 lanes. Lucas was in the back seat. Windows were already down. I was able to pull him out very quickly, but Maddie was the one that was trapped. And so they were pinned up against the Jersey barrier, and so I tried pulling her out, but she said her legs were trapped. I went under the windshield to see if I can break through the windshield to find another access point to get her out to come a different way. And as I was breaking through that, I got a hole in the windshield, and I was able to stick my boot through there to try to open it up a little bit. And I did not act alone, so this is something that I want to make sure everybody's aware of this. I was not the only one that stopped to help. There was another gentleman that also stopped to help, and the two of us together were able to pull her out. So I don't know what happened with that other gentleman, but the two of us together did that. But yeah, I was just, and as soon as we were like 5 feet away from the vehicle, explosions started happening. I don't know if it was tires popping or what, but it was kind of like a movie where the timing was everything. And as we walked away, the flames, I mean, if you ever see any of the footage or the photos from the media, it was up past the bridge, the overhead bridge, and it just grew very, very rapidly. So we're just very thankful.
What did you use to break down?
So at first I was using my fist, and then I realized I had a pocket knife that has a glass breaker on it. And I used that also to help, because by that time my arm was already cut up. I was using that to help break through, and then I used my foot as well. So just anything that I had on me.
So your injuries were cuts to your hands?
Yeah, to my right hand and my arm, yeah.
What do you think about being called a superhero?
I'm just Frank. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm an uncle, a coworker. It's just something that happened in a day, and we were able to walk away from it, and don't think I'm a superhero. I just was somebody in the right place at the right time.
I have a question for your wife, actually.
Yeah.
So how did you feel watching your husband walk across I-80 going to this Houston plane?
It was pretty surreal, but I agree it was like a movie because I was explaining this, we just went to lunch before we came here, that we had gone to 2 college visits in the same day. And so my son was in the back seat and my head was actually looking down at all the paperwork from the colleges and we're talking about our visits. And all of a sudden I hear Frank say, "Call 911." And I looked up and I saw the semi crash into the car and go into the barrier. And he just immediately went over to the side, blocked the traffic, ran across, and I was on the phone, and it just happened so fast, but it was amazing to see him go into action. But he has been like that in the past, where he's somebody that just, when there is a tragedy or an emergency that happens, he's just calm, cool, and collected and knows exactly what to do. So it was pretty amazing to watch him save these kids, because as a mom, I'm envisioning how I would feel if this was happening to my kids and I got a call that this happened. And so I do truly believe that God put us there.
Yeah, how do you feel today watching Frank get awarded for it?
It's very warranted that he did deserve what he did or what he got, and I'm happy that people could recognize it, but I do think it was just a matter of we were in the right place at the right time. The right person who knew how to jump into action was there, and God put us there. So I'm happy that he is receiving this award. I know it means a lot to him and his heart. So thanks.
Paul?
How many kids do you have? And what, you were taking your son to college visits?
Yeah, my son Zach here. Come on, Zach.
Come on up, Zach. There you go, Zach. You're part of this now.
This is my son Zach, and he's the oldest of 2. We also have a daughter, Lexi, who's going to school right now. But we were on his special day of doing the campus visits. We had gone to Concordia and Seward, and then we also went to UNL here in Lincoln. And we were just in the car discussing pros and cons and, the fact that our lives were going to be changing in a year because he was going to be moving off to school, and just so proud of this boy. And he's at Lincoln now, and we just couldn't be any happier. My daughter's at UNO. She's going to school too, and I'm just proud of both of my kids. I look at it as a father. If my kids were in a situation, an accident, or in a place where they needed help, I would only hope that somebody would be there to act on my behalf or as a parent's behalf to take care of them and help them find safety. So, you were there. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was in the back seat. I had put my chair down. I was just kind of thinking about the 2 college visits I went on. And then I hear my dad, and he says, "Call 911." So I look up, and I see a semi that had hit a car, and then they went into the barrier median. And I was in shock because it was like a movie, just like everybody else has said. So my dad pulled over, and immediately, I had no time to react. He had already been out of the car, and he was running across the interstate doing this. And then I got out of the car with my mom, and my mom and I were flustered. We were like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" She was trying to figure out where we were at because we weren't very familiar with the Lincoln area because we're from Omaha, and we're trying to figure out what bridge we're under and the directions. And my dad, meanwhile, he's in action trying to get them out, breaking the windshield, and it was just a very chaotic experience, and I'm just so thankful that my dad could be there to save them. And it was just an amazing experience for my
So
dad.
you
And
say you're proud of your father?
yes, I'm proud of my father. Very proud. Very proud, very proud. And so thankful that he was there and that he could be there for this family and save them. And yes, I'm very proud of you, Dad. Yeah.
We have one more question.
Yeah. Aaron,
Clarifying, there were 3 vehicles involved in
you want to step up?
I'm going to have Lieutenant Stahl speak to that. And the question was the specifics of how many vehicles were involved.
Yes, 3 vehicles. There was the daily SUV. The gentleman that actually caused this crash was the 3rd vehicle involved, and then there was a truck tractor semi-trailer that was a victim of this as well.
How many total people were in all 3 cars?
4 total.
Why did you feel compelled to want to get recognition for Frank?
Initially, as Shelley said, it's not common that people step in and help other people. We do it as first responders all the time, and we don't think about the people out there in the general public that do this as well. And being there on the scene with Frank and then doing the follow-up investigation of this particular crash, I nominated Frank for what's our State Patrol Civilian Award, which was granted, and then we presented that to him actually in Omaha last year. And we truly do need to recognize the people that go out and help other people on a day-to-day basis. It isn't just first responders. We can't be everywhere in every situation all the time. And so it's our responsibility as good human beings to take care of each other. And that's exactly what Frank did and his family did that day.
All right, well, thank you all very much, and congratulations, Frank, well-deserved. Shelley and Zach, I know you're very proud as well, but all Nebraskans are proud of how you rescued those 2 young people and really, again, just demonstrated why we got the best place in the world here in Nebraska. So thank you very much, Frank. It was well-deserved honor, and just want to again say thank you, Colonel, and Jason, thanks very much for all that you do and all the State Patrol does each and every day. Thank you all very much for being here to help us recognize Frank Axiotis for his heroic actions, and I hope you all have a great, happy Thanksgiving week. Thank you. See you later. Bye. Don't forget this.
Yes. Thank you, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Shelley. Appreciate that. Did you want to do photos? Oh, yeah, let's get some photos. Yeah, let's get the. Jason, yeah, you got to get in here, please. Sharon, thanks. Bye.